Hi everybody. I wanted to take a few minutes to walk you through assignment 4A, which is the paper on social welfare problem history. So in assignment 3B, you were asked to identify a social issue or social welfare problem and briefly describe why you chose it, why it is important. In this paper, you're asked to expand on that. And this paper is really an opportunity for you to apply what you've been learning over the past 3 weeks to a social welfare issue that you have selected. So using the concepts that you've learned through the readings, the videos, through the online discussions, both with your classmates and my feedback, you're asked to focus on 6 areas in a 4 to 5 page paper. So first you're asked to describe at what point or period in time was your issue first identified and defined as a social problem. And that's going to vary depending on what your topic is in terms of what that looks like. Then you're asked to identify by whom it was identified. So what people were involved, or groups of people, or what social institutions that we've been reading about were involved in identifying this, right? Because as we've read, who's identifying the problem oftentimes says a lot about how the problem is defined. Third, you're asked to discuss the societal values and beliefs that have affected the way the United States has responded to the problem at various points in history. So, here you might talk about at one point in time, maybe your issue was a matter of personal responsibility, and then maybe something happened that caused a shift in thinking, and now it's viewed more as a matter of social responsibility. The concepts of institutional and residual approaches also come into play here. So you can be thinking about that. The fourth point asks you to describe the scope of the problem and what populations are affected by the problem. So that can extend to sort of what's the scope of the problem today, right? Who is affected by this today? Fifth, you're asked to talk about in what ways the problem is impacted by power dynamics, by socioeconomics, by institutional discrimination and racism, heterocentrism, ethnocentrism, all the this that we read about in week 3. How do these concepts, or maybe a few of those concepts, relate to your problem? How is your issue impacted by these kinds of dynamics? And then sixth, you're asked to describe what the response to the problem has been throughout history, and then discuss at least 2 policies that have been designed to remedy the problem. So don't try to do too much here. You're not being asked to solve the problem yourself in this paper, but what you do need to do is to, through your research, identify 2 policies that have been enacted or designed to address the problem and to talk about those. And as I'm reading your assignment 3Bs this week, and I will do my best to get those back to you very quickly, I will be giving you some feedback as well that hopefully can help guide you through this process. So in terms of the technicalities of the paper, that was sort of the content. You're going to need no fewer than 6 sources, and this is a research paper, so these sources need to be from peer-reviewed journals. It could be from .gov sites, especially if you're quoting statistics. There could be possibly .org sites that are relevant. Reputable news sites may be relevant. But you should definitely have a mix of sources. It shouldn't be all news sites. You should definitely have a mix of sources. So some peer-reviewed journals, maybe some websites. It will vary topic to topic, but definitely it should not just be all web-based resources. Also, for this assignment, Wikipedia is not an acceptable source. This is a scholarly paper. It's an academic paper, so we need to be using either primary sources or academic journals for this particular paper. Let's see what else. So paper should be double-spaced using APA format. I know APA format can be a pain. It has been for me throughout my academic career as well, so I definitely appreciate that. Just use the guide that's in your student resources in the course website, and you should be okay with that. Font shouldn't be any smaller than 12 points. Your margins should be 1 inch. Please check for grammar and spelling errors before you turn in your assignment. You all have such great perspectives and points to make. And what happens when there are grammatical errors or sort of sentence structure errors is you lose clarity and you lose the strength of your points. And I don't want you to do that. I want your perspectives and your points to come through loud and clear and in a way that, you know, nobody can say anything about them other than to, you know, engage you in a discussion about them. So please pay attention to that. I've really enjoyed reading everyone's assignments so far. I mean, you all really do have, you know, you all have great perspectives on the issues that you're talking about and on your experiences as well that you bring to this class. So thank you for that. Okay, so your assignment will be graded according to this rubric, which I think is pretty straightforward. If anyone has any questions about this, please let me know. And I think that is all for now. If you know, as you're researching and beginning to write, if you are having questions, please feel free to email me. I will be online from 6 to 8 p.m. on Tuesday night, logged into the course. So if you want a more real-time response to me, that would be a great time, if you have a burning question. And I really look forward to reading your papers. Good luck. I think you're all going to do a really great job with this. And I think, you know, the great thing about this assignment is you get to pick the issue. So it's about something you're interested in. So it should be something that, you know, is a really great learning experience as opposed to another paper that you have to write. So I hope you enjoy doing it. Okay, I look forward to reading your papers, and I will talk to everybody soon. Thanks.